This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi.
Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oksenholt and was published by Oksenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. Look, I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little law and order left. To let them know in the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. Let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt, where we report the facts and we are not for sale. If you have a news story or something that's on your mind, please feel free to give us a call at 228-337-2099. Be glad to have you on. Thank you for listening, and we do appreciate all that you do to support us and keep free and independent journalism doing what we do best. Okay, this video fucked up again. Let's try it again. Anthony Oksenholt, Access 228. I'm doing this to respond to a comment on my What is the Dixie Mafia, or what was the Dixie Mafia video. I'll post a link down below. I'm going to respond to Namey McNamerson, and you should see your comment popping up right about now. And he says, my favorite part was when you expressed your hatred for morally corrupt cops, and then almost in the same breath, you praised the cop who would take the low road to get things done. I absolutely hate dirty cops. I hate dirty cops. I hate dirty COs. 100% fucking just, don't get me fucking started. Absolutely. I would love to take every fucking dirty cop in the world, put them on my boat, take them about 60 miles out in the Gulf and take them fishing, and I ain't say shit about bringing them back. Unfortunately, society and the laws and the rules of established normalities and legalities say that I can't do that. Not to mention my sailboat's only 35 feet long, so it would probably sink with every dirty cop in the fucking world on it, and I don't want to do that to my boat. But that's how much I hate them sorry motherfuckers. Now, let me explain the man that I was talking about having to take the low road. That man's name is Rex Armistead. And I do have a lot of respect for Rex Armistead. Rex Armistead was probably one of the best investigators the state of Mississippi ever produced. If I, as an investigator, can do about 10% of what that man can accomplish, I would consider myself worth a shit. And I'm talking just 10%. This man went toe-to-toe. This man had no fear. Now, I have no fear. I'll stand toe-to-toe against anybody. I don't give a fuck if you're fucking 30 feet tall and built like fucking what Arnold Schwarzenegger wishes he was built like. I'm talking Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s. All right? I still ain't backing down from you. You'd be the baddest motherfucker in the world. I still won't back down. Even though I know I'm getting my ass whipped, I still won't back down. That's just how I am. I'm too stupid to know what fear is when it comes to a fight. And I have never in my life backed down from a fight. So I don't fear anybody. I was a fucking correctional officer, and I'd worked in some of the worst prisons in the South. Guess what? Still ain't backing down. There ain't one person I've ever backed down from a fight from in my life. Not a single fucking one. In 41 years. And I never will. Rex Armistead was the same way. He likewise would not back down from a fight. I have never heard a story, and I've talked to several people who worked with him. I've talked to several people who knew him personally, and every one of them said that there ain't a fucking son of a bitch he'd back down from. He's been in gunfights. I haven't been in a gunfight. I pulled my gun, but I've never been in a gunfight. I've never had somebody shoot at me trying to kill me while I'm shooting at them from a defensive position. I've never had that. I've trained for it. And I train constantly for it as often as I can. But I've never been in that situation. He has. And he still didn't back down. Yes, there is a story circulating, and I'm fairly certain it's true. Back in the probably 60s or 70s, he had Bobby Joe Fabian in a ditch with his firearm outside of arm's reach, and Rex Armistead had his pointed at him saying, "You don't want to come out that ditch without your gun, do you, Bobby?" And legend has it, his response was, "That boy needed killing." Do I agree with that type of behavior? No. Do I agree that it was sometimes necessary? That the ends justified the means justified the ends? Well, Bobby Joe Fabian was a dangerous motherfucker. Let's get this straight out. Kirksey Nix, a dangerous dude. Probably still today at 82 years old, if he was to be released, he'd probably be just as dangerous. Because he's fucked up here. I know he's sitting in federal prison. Last I checked, he was in Missouri. If they cut him loose today, I seriously doubt that he would go back and lead a normal, crime-free lifestyle. I honestly believe that if they cut him loose, even if he was 183, if they cut him loose, he'd find a way to commit a crime just to have one last hurrah. I firmly believe that. Based on everything I know about him, and I've never met the man in person. I've never talked to the man. I know people who knew him. Dangerous motherfucker. Some people you just can't fix. Bobby Joe Fabian, had he been allowed to get out of jail, get out of prison before he died, I firmly believe that he would have reoffended. He was a dangerous guy. I don't think that he would have just went home and sat on the fucking porch the rest of his days. I think he would have committed another crime. Another felony. I believe this. Rex Armistead probably believed it too, which is why he did everything he could to ensure that these people never saw the light of day again. Rex Armistead, for those of y'all who do not know, is a former Mississippi Highway Patrol investigator, which would later become the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. Rex Armistead knew that you had to get down in the weeds to get at these people because there were no set rules of engagement except if you have to draw, you better be ready to kill. Because if you don't kill, you may get killed. That was the way of the rules back then. That was the way it was. You know, you can't look at law enforcement in Biloxi in the 60s, 70s, and 80s through a 2026 lens because you wouldn't recognize the place. If I put y'all in a time machine and took y'all back to Biloxi, back to the Strip in the 60s, and then took you out of it and brought you back in 2026, you'd be hard-pressed to believe that you were in the same place. I'm not talking pre-Katrina. I'm talking pre-Camille. Or just after Camille. Camille decimated Biloxi. We built it back. Katrina decimated it again. And we're back building again. Things are not coming back as fast as they were, as fast as they did after Camille on the beachfront, but hey, shit happens. Everybody wants to believe that the guys with the badges are the good guys. We all want to believe it. Even if you are the biggest cop hater in the world, you still want to you want to cling to something good comes from that badge. You know, we all watch movies. Most of us do. And in the movies, a lot of the time, most of the time, the cops are the good guys. And we still, even deep down, we want to believe that cops stand for something, a semblance of community service. Unfortunately, that's not exactly the truth, even in a 2026 world. Let's go back 50 years, 60 years. 50 and 60 years ago, my grandfather was a cop in this county, Harrison County. He was a deputy. And he was a dirty motherfucker. 41 years ago, he hung up his badge. 1985. My personal opinion is he did nothing good that I have ever heard while he was on the job. Not a damn thing. He was a corrupt son of a bitch. My dearly departed grandfather, you damn right. I can't think of any redeeming quality about him. Rex Armistead knew how to be ruthless. And he understood that sometimes you have to be. And y'all don't want to hear this. Y'all don't want to hear this because y'all are looking, again, take the 2026 vision out of it and let's go back to when this area was lawless. Virtually lawless. I mean, goddamn, 1983, the sheriff of Harrison County was arrested by the fucking DEA. and he became sheriff in the 70s. Leroy Hobbs. Yeah, I'll say it. This is the type of shit that Rex Armistead worked in. This is these are the working conditions of Rex Armistead when he came to Biloxi, when he blockaded the Golden Nugget in 1970. Let's go ahead and do the math on this, okay? Alcohol had just became legalized in Mississippi in 1966. The first establishment to get a liquor license in the state of Mississippi was the Broadwater. Where's the Broadwater located? Or where was the Broadwater located? West Biloxi. Less than a mile. I would say less than a half a mile from the Golden Nugget was the Broadwater. Golden Nugget was in full swing in 1966. But was the Broadwater selling alcohol before 1966? You bet your ass. So was the Nugget. So was Gus Stevens. So was quite a few other places. Oh yeah, the Strip was wet as fuck. My grandma told me that there was a slot machine in every store in Biloxi. There was a nickel machine at least. The old three reel fucking nickel machine. Put your nickel in, you pull the lever, the old one-armed bandits. Alright? There was no regulation on them. Now, with the Mississippi Gaming Commission, I think they have to lose like 90-something percent, and then, they keep the rest. Something like that. I don't know exactly what the formula is and how it works. I'm not a slot machine guy. I do like my craps. I like my roulette. I stay away from I stay away from the slot machines. I really don't go to the casino that often. If I do, it's once in a while. I haven't been to a casino in almost a year. I really don't like casinos being here. But if I get bored, I'll stroll into one. Most I'll take in is probably $50. And that's it. I know people that'll walk in there and give their whole paycheck and then go pawn their fucking grandpa's shotgun and go in there and go lose it too. But people are stupid. To quote my friend Wild Bill, everybody's got the right to be stupid. Some people just abuse it. Now, Rex Armistead. He knew full well what was going on down here. He knew about the prostitution, which has always been illegal and still is. He knew about the prostitution. He knew about the bee drinking. He knew about the racketeering. He knew about the illegal alcohol. people that were operating without a liquor license. He knew about the other crimes that were committed, the other felonies that were being committed by people who were associated with the Dixie Mafia. He knew how dangerous these people were. He knew how many bodies, well, I ain't going to say he knew how many bodies because there's bodies that probably still haven't been found yet. But he knew that they had bodies on them. He knew that they were dangerous. And he's fought a few of them. He knew what happened at Frank Corso's house down in New Orleans. Frank Corso was what was the robbery that finally got Kirksey Nix put in prison where he would never, ever get out. Except for when they brought him to court for other charges. But if he stepped outside in the free world, he's wearing cuffs. He's in 5-point restraints, leg shackles, handcuffs, and a fucking waist chain with a black box. He's not going to see the light of day without being cuffed and escorted. And this was by design because Rex knew, as did everybody else, that this is a bad motherfucker. This is somebody who doesn't mind killing. This is somebody who will kill you, but to kill you, he'll kill your whole family just to get to you. And he would gladly do it himself. Most of the people that he ran with were the same way. They will, again, kill your whole family just to kill you simply because you pissed them off. You can't really negotiate with people like that. You can't let your guard down and go, maybe I should follow the rules on this one. Granted, not following the rules, very risky. In a 2026 world with everything on camera, you can't get away with that shit. You will absolutely get your case thrown out in court, and that dangerous son of a bitch that should never see the light of day will walk out quicker than you will, and you'll be the one going to jail. But back in the 60s and 70s, it wasn't like that. Even though the Constitution hadn't changed, and I'm not saying that it was right or wrong. I'm saying that he understood what he was up against and what he was dealing with. He understood that if you don't fucking be ready to kill, you might not make it home tonight. And again, it may sound like I'm praising him. I'm not praising him, but I'm not condemning him either. I'm understanding exactly why he did, what he did, and trying to bring it to you in the context of what was going on at that time. These were killers. Multiple fucking murderers. Your life has zero value to them. You're just in their way. They will take what they want from you. They would quite literally, you got something they want, Hey, and the cops back then, let me give you a little story of what my dear old dad, the man that raised me, old Dale Kirk, let me tell you what he used to tell me. You want to break in somebody's car and it was some tourist come down here, some airman or whatever? The cops will stand over you and hold the flashlight while you breaking into that car. Now, knowing all of this, y'all tell me down in the comments, please. Please. What would you do if you were law enforcement and you don't want to see this? And keep in mind, those of y'all that say, oh, well, I'd just leave. This is home. My family's been here a long goddamn time. I'm from here. My family's from here. I'm not some tourist that moved in last week or some fucking second generation Biloxian. My family's been here. Y'all tell me exactly what you would do. How would you handle this situation? You're a cop. Quitting is not an option either. Don't say, "Oh, I'd just quit and go do something else." You can't quit. That's not an option. You're going to do your job, but how would you do your job? Bonus points if you've actually served in fucking uniform. Please let me know. Because I'm going to tell you, as much as I love the Constitution, as much as I hate dirty cops, as much as I really want things done the proper way, I don't think I could do it. I don't think in that type of situation, taking the totality of circumstances, looking at the big picture, I don't think I would have done it any different than Rex Armistead did. Because I don't think there's any possible way to do it other than the way he did it. Is it unfortunate? Yes. Am I excusing it? Possibly. Do I think the ends justify the means? In this case, I would say yes. In a 2025 world where we have technology, we have cameras everywhere, I could bug an office or bug a fucking club very easily. Wireless fucking shit and, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and everything like that. I could probably rig up an office, rig up a club, rig up a dance floor with audio and video. Wire that motherfucker to where I could see everything in that son of a bitch, and you'd never know it was there. Fucking cameras are smaller than shit now. High-speed data right here. If I stuck this in the ceiling and piggybacked a bunch of bugs and shit off of it, you'd never fucking know it. But we're talking 1970. Cameras were fucking huge. Mics were, compared to what they are today, fucking huge. Yeah, they had bugs, but they were a little bit harder to place. I'm not saying it's impossible. But even then, here's the other question. I mentioned a judge, and I didn't mention his name in one of the other videos that I mentioned. If you have judges that are associating with it, how are you going to get a warrant to wiretap the phones? Oh, speaking of phones, back then, it was a little harder to do it because they had cell phones, but they weren't like this. Them fuckers were huge. They had car phones, yeah. But hell, car phones, shit, they were on a UHF signal. Anybody with a fucking radio or police scanner could pick it up. They only had like just a handful of UHF channels back in the 70s for your car phones. And they were expensive as shit. You know what's not expensive? Going to a fucking payphone, and payphones were everywhere back then. If you don't know what a payphone is, there was a phone that was sitting outside of could be a gas station, could be a bar, could be a corner store, could be inside of a bar, could be just set up on the side of the road. You drive up to it, you take out a handful of change, dimes back then, probably. I don't know when they went to 25 cents, but I know when I was a kid, a payphone cost a quarter. That's where that Travis Tritt song comes from. Here's a quarter, call somebody who cares. He damn sure wasn't talking about a cell phone. He's talking about dropping a quarter in a payphone, picking it up, dialing the number. Hey, do you care what I gotta say? That was how it was back then. Didn't nobody have cell phones? I know it's hard to imagine in a 2026 world with, all y'all Gen Zs sitting here and, us Gen Xers are like, hey, yeah, this is the way shit used to be. Yes, I believe 1984 was Gen X. I goddamn sure ain't no millennial. Y'all got to understand this. This is the way it was. It was a lot harder back then. And again, I know y'all hate to hear me fucking use this ends justify the means argument, but how many lives do you think were saved because Rex Armistead did what he did? Kirksey McCord Nix Jr., when he broke into Frank Corso's house, he had every intention of killing everybody in there if they got in his way. He had every intention of taking the life of everybody in that house. Frank, his wife, his daughter, everybody. As a matter of fact, he attempted to fire on Frank's wife. Do you know why she lived past that night? His fucking gun jammed. And he was already with a bullet in his gut, so he didn't do the tap, rack, and clear. Okay? So, he had every intention of killing that woman and wouldn't have gave a shit one way or the other. What did he do just shortly before that? Let's talk about how ruthless Kirksey McCord Nix really was. Okay? Let's go 50 miles, not even 50 miles away from the Corso murder, about 70 miles away from Biloxi. Let's go to the North Shore, Louisiana. The Gypsy Camp murders. The head woman over the gypsies, he bashed her upside the fucking head with a hammer. That sounds like a stable person, right? And he did it while she was chained up to other people in front of them. She gave him shit. He gave her a hammer to the head and beat her fucking literal brains out all over the floor. Can you reason with somebody like that? No. Can you negotiate with somebody like that? No. Unfortunately, you have to get down in the fucking dirt with it. If he was to stay, if he wouldn't have got arrested in Dallas and brought back to Louisiana, he would have fucking killed again. Hell, he killed from prison. He went to prison in what, 1970, 1971, something like that? When he finally went to prison? 1987, he killed again from prison. A judge and his wife. Again, how would you, following every fucking rule that you want to, following the Constitution the way we all want to, how would you stop somebody like this? You tell me. Put it in the comments below. I want to know. I want to know how you think Rex Armistead could have fought that type of evil and stayed in bounds. And again, sounds like I'm excusing it. It sounds like I'm okay with it. I'm a little okay with it, but I'm more breaking it down for context, and you could say I'm justifying it. I'll give you that. I am a little bit. Let's say he played by the rules, okay? Let's say he decided he wanted to go get a warrant. So he goes to the judge and he's like, "Hey, look, I want a warrant to surveil the Golden Nugget because I know that this evil bastard, Kirksey McCord Nix, and this other evil bastard, Bobby Joe Fabian, and their little band of merry assholes are hanging out over here, and they're up to no good. They have criminal charges in Arkansas for weapons possession. They have suspected murder charges. They have robbery charges in Georgia. And I really think that, they're responsible for this murder, that murder, this robbery, this drug deal, this mugging, whatever. Felony, 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 felony. This is my proof. I have this informant telling me this. I have this officer over here swearing that he busted this going on, and they said that they had witnesses that Kirksey was there doing this and fit his description, and Bobby Joe Fabian was found over here doing this shit. This is their MO. This is what I have. Here's my affidavit. Here's my probable cause. Please give me a warrant. And the judge goes, all right, let me take it under advisement. And then, hey, Kurt, look, brother, you might want to clear town. Here, let me sign your warrant. Rex gets nothing. If the judge wasn't the one that called, maybe his clerk would. Maybe a dirty cop on the payroll. There were several, up to and including the high elected sheriff. Several, not just the current one. The current sheriff was on the payroll in the 70s and 80s. That would have been Leroy Hobbs. The former sheriff was abso-fucking-lutely on the payroll, Eddie McDonald. Believe Lost Quab was too. Granted, Lost Quab was a little bit before Kurt got there, but Eddie McDonald was here for it. So, y'all want to tell me how you going to do it? You don't want to get the FBI involved because you can't really prove a federal case. Maybe you could. Maybe interstate murder for hire. I don't know. But you better prove it. Murder is a state charge, by the way, in case y'all didn't know. Maybe they can get interstate conspiracy for murder, but you better have a witness to that conspiracy to put on that probable cause affidavit. And then if the judge says no, what are you going to do? Maybe the judge is on the payroll himself. What are you going to do? Well, Rex had to get down in the weeds. It's unfortunate. Nobody wants to think about it. Nobody wants to acknowledge how bad it was back then. It was pretty fucking bad. It was real fucking bad. Y'all come down here. You just passing through. You get taken for a game of razzle. A lot of that going on. You win a little bit just to keep you in the game and then lose your natural ass. You'd be walking out of there with the fucking britches busted off your ass because they done took them too. It happened. This is not Anthony made this shit up. This happened. This is not Anthony's imagination going wild. I'm a fucking writer. And if I didn't hear about this shit, I probably couldn't have came up with some. Well, I probably could have, but not as elaborate as the truth. Truth is far stranger than fiction sometimes. This is one of those cases. Y'all need to understand something. Men like Rex Armistead and Joe Price, I believe, were the only ones standing in between those that were in the alleged Dixie Mafia, or so-called Dixie Mafia, and the governor's mansion. And I firmly believe that. I 100% believe that. Give y'all a little piece of history. My piece of shit grandfather, the murdering, rapist, racist piece of shit that he was, narrowly lost constable by 7 votes. Because of all the cemeteries that were just casting their ballot from the great beyond. I swear the turnout from old Biloxi Cemetery back then was astonishing. Was he an asshole? Was Rex Armistead an asshole? Yeah. Did he kill people? Yeah, he sure did. Did he use excessive force? I wouldn't doubt it. I'm pretty sure he did. No denying it. No fucking, oh, that didn't happen. Yeah, it probably did. When I hear stories about some of the shit that he did, I'm like, well, it don't surprise me. Because it don't. But I do understand why he did it. You've got to take the 2026 rose colored glasses off, and you got to put your fucking mind in the sewer. Because that's where these people lived. This is where Mike Gillich the third, or Mike Gillich Jr., excuse me, lived. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Yeah, Mike Gillis Jr., dirty motherfucker. I have zero question about his involvement in multiple felonies going back decades. I have zero doubt about it. Absolutely none. And he would have continued. Anyway, I think I've made my point and driven it home. Y'all have a good night. It's almost 2 a.m. I got shit to do in the morning. Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt. I'm going to do more on the Dixie Mafia. I'm probably going to go ahead and create a playlist tonight when I upload this. And see y'all on the other side. Might actually break the camera out tonight, or well, tomorrow, and show y'all what it looks like now where some of the places were. I'm really considering doing that. Good night.